Welcome, everybody, to the Snap Podcast. My name is Tyler Kluver, and let's consider this a personal audio journal of mine. A lot of rambling, a lot of random stuff, anything relevant in my personal life that has to do with health, fitness, diet, business, being an entrepreneur, and simply trying to unlock the avenues of personal growth that help me find the most happy, fulfilling, and free life that I can live. I hope that you guys can take something away from the show and maybe find some entertainment in it as well. Thank you so much for listening, and let's get to it. Let's do it on the Snap Podcast. Come on. It's Wednesday. And the ticker at the bottom of my computer says the Russell 2000 index in the stock market is up 3.65%. Hey, claps for everybody. Nobody knows what that means. No one gives a fuck. This isn't a stock podcast. 2 years ago, this might have been a stock podcast. In fact, I think 2 years ago, almost to the day, was the day that I officially put real money into my first investment. It's right after my birthday 2 years ago, 2020. And for a month or so, investing was easy as fuck. And then, or was it 2019? No, it was 2020. Everything was still rebounding from there was still a pretty decent uptick from from COVID crashing everything in a couple days during March of 6 months earlier. And then early 2021 hit and everybody was getting boned. Anyway, that's not what this podcast is about. This is a Snap Podcast. Glad that you guys are all here. Hoping for this one to be a short one. Say it every time. It never ends up being a short one. Actually, might be a short one today because unscripted. Don't think there's a whole lot to this one. I just want to touch on, elaborate on this show, on this platform, on some thoughts that I had this morning and that I've been thinking about more recently. I announced back a couple months ago that I am soon to be a dad. 3 months, less than 3 months, most likely, and I will be a father. Still crazy to say, very excited about it. Time is going fast. I'm sure anybody who listens to this who is a parent, this is going to turn into dad fitness, by the way. This show is basically going to turn into how to be fit while being a dad. I'm going to fucking corner the market. And there's a lot of things that have been running through my head as we near that life event. One of those being the obvious, you have a kid and you're no longer living for just yourself. Even to some extent right now, you could be in my similar situation. I heard somebody called it, I don't know where I heard this, but I thought it was hilarious. You could be a dink. What a fucking acronym. DINK. DINK. Double income, no kids. Potentially the best way to live life. You and your partner are just, you're in an affordable housing situation. You start, you've got a job. This probably sounds so fucking duh to a lot of you because you're probably 5 to 10 to 20 years older than me. But I'm 28, just turned 28 3 days ago. Happy birthday to myself. I am 5 years out of college, out of being a kid. And I would even say for a couple years after I graduated, if I felt pretty much like a kid. I think we're out of that now. I think as we near 30, especially when you go to have your own kid, there's a part of your own inner kid that dies a little bit. But I think probably a part that gets reborn as well. Um, so in recent history in my life, I was still no job, no income, no plans, no idea of where this thing called life was going. Everyone's been there. Maybe you're there right now. Maybe you're younger and you listen to this podcast and you're like, "Holy shit, I'm that's literally me." Don't worry about it. Life's probably going to work out. The As I've now gotten older, 28, having the kid, you start to mature a little bit. You start to figure things out. You become a dink, double income, no kids. You feel like you got things figured out. But now we throw this pregnancy, going to be a father into the mix, and there's a new level of uncertainty. A level, and maybe I'll dive into that in itself in another podcast. Um, but with that uncertainty comes you voluntarily taking a step back, right? You are 100% going to have less time for yourself. You are 100% going to sleep less than you do right now. You are 100% going to have less money. You're not going to have less money, but disposable income is going to shrink unless you somehow get like a perfectly timed bonus that 1-to-1 matches what a kid costs, because you're now going to be paying for everything that involves having a child. You're voluntarily taking a step back on the life that you've built to this point, financially, um, knowledge. Not well, yeah, you're probably taking a step back knowledge wise as well. You got to figure out how to be a parent, right? And that is that quite frankly makes me think a lot. I'm in my head a lot. With my life right now, training, we've been over it. I train 2 to 3 hours a day. That brings in the idea that your your proverbial my schedule is going to become tighter. There is going to be, I mentioned the less sleep, probably, my irritability is probably going to rise. Even if I'm the best in the world, right? I have this kid and somehow magically I was the chosen one to be just one of the best, literally objectively one of the best at parenting on earth. I am still going to have an uptick in stress. I'm still going to have an uptick in irritability, in less time for myself, in unplanned things that I have to take care of because the kid, you know, shits out of his diaper or won't go to sleep for a nap or wakes up in the middle, A, B, C, X, Y, Z, however many things you want to list out. I'm not just in responsible for my own life right anymore. And that means this is where this is all going. Had to draw it out to at least 9 minutes. That means that the amount of times when I go to do something for myself, mainly the training, right? When it comes to my training, which takes up a large portion of my day, right? I'm sleeping 8 hours. That leaves me 16 hours awake every single day. 3 of those hours, let's call it 4 of those hours with recovery. Let's call it 5 of those hours with eating and preparing food and recovering and stretching and body work and all that. Almost 1/3 of my waking hours is dedicated to a selfish pursuit. And even now, without the kid to worry about. I have plenty of days because the level of which I have decided to pursue that hobby, that selfish pursuit, is so high. Even now, I have days or sessions, or, I talked about it last week. Now going on 2 or 3 weeks ago, I had an entire week like this where I am not motivated to, uh, at least right off the bat, right? The burning juice inside of me that's pushing me in one direction or the other is not exactly always just pushing me in the direction of, fuck yeah, let's train. I want to train. I want to do this right now. This is exactly what I want. I feel good. I'm motivated. I'm inspired. I'm I feel locked in. I feel mentally my acuity is just, I'm zoned in, ready to go. I'm not even 100% right now without the kid. And having that kid is going to, no doubt, again, even if it's on a very small level, some days it might be a huge level. It's going to affect that level even more. And where I'm going with this is, it doesn't fucking matter. The CrossFit Games doesn't give a shit. They don't care. The other competitors, they don't fucking care. In fact, they're welcoming it. They're welcoming the game, the process, the other competitors, the competitions. All of that welcomes the chaos because it makes it more that it makes it even harder for people to be at the top, for people to succeed at extremely high levels, for people to get where they're trying to go, or at least where they think they want to go. Right? No one's coming to save me. I'm not some celebrity who has the ability, the money, or even the desire to pay someone to to raise my kid for the next 2 years so that I can continue to worry about myself. I have to figure it out. And just because I have a kid doesn't automatically, shift the universe to where, oh, well, I only need 90 minutes to 2 hours of training now a day. 90 minutes to 2 hours will do it. I'm going to have to cut back because I have the kid. And don't worry, I'll still get where I want to go. No, like, I still need 2 to 3 hours, maybe upwards of 4 hours when we get closer to the season. So that's going to be tough. And I am going to feel, I'm ex- and there's another, now there's going to be another an entirely new variable in the equation, right? Not only is the variable of motivation going to decrease a little bit, or at least the frequency in which the sessions I enter training wise, that variable of motivation is going to be decreased or not there. But there's also going to be a variable of guilt and responsibility of, I feel bad that I'm training and doing something for myself right now and not doing XYZ with the kid, right? Not paying attention to the kid. Fortunately, right? A lot of the training does happen. It's part of my work day. So if the kid's at daycare, then it's actually not cutting into his time. It's not exactly 1-to-1. It's not going to be, crazy um intrusive, but it is going to be a factor. And the point is that it doesn't fucking matter. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how unmotivated I become on a specific day or for a specific session, if I plan to go where I want to go, I still have to get it in. And when you And we all have these moments. 15 minutes. As we cross 15 minutes, I get to the actual point. I fucking suck at this. We all have these moments every day, multiple times a day. Sometimes they're for bigger things, sometimes most of the time they're for smaller things, where there's something we want to do, maybe something that we need to do, and they conflict, right? Right now, in fact, this podcast was something that I needed to do. Uh, I've decided that in on my Wednesdays, once a week, I do the Snap podcast. I needed to do this podcast today. Did I want to do it? I wouldn't say I was super excited to do it. I wasn't totally against it. I was fine with spending the next 30 minutes on it. Did I want to spend an hour this morning running intervals around my block? Sprinting, jogging. No. No, absolutely I did not. And this is where this thought hit me was during the session. Kind of before the session. I could have said, and I thought about it last night in bed, and this is where your thoughts become so powerful, is last night I thought, you know what? I've put in 2 really good training days, Monday, Tuesday. Maybe today, Wednesday, and last night, because I made the decision to stay later at the volleyball game, the varsity game for the team that Lauren coaches at for. And that game went until 10 o'clock. We didn't fall asleep until closer to 11. Only got about 7 hours last night, which is way better than most people, but less for me than normal. I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe this morning we'll skip. We'll just add on a piece to the afternoon session. We'll make it, closer to 2.5 hours. We'll lighten the day a little bit. But because I've built myself into somewhat robotic, immediately the other voice in my head goes, "You fucking pussy. You're going to skip the session." When the open comes around in 5 months in February and you look back, is skipping the session tomorrow when I woke up this morning today, is skipping that session going to fall in the "that made me better" side of the checkbox? Is that going to fall in the "skipping this session made it more likely that I succeed when I go to be tested in these CrossFit workouts"? No. Is it what I wanted last night and this morning because I was feeling tired and sorry for myself? Yes. But if you skip one session, and every once in a while I have done it, right? I had to last week. We got back on Monday. I wasn't able to do a morning session on the Monday, so I had to get a bigger, intense session in the afternoon. I got 90 minutes to 2 hours of training in on Monday. That's all I could do, right? There was nothing I could do about that. We were out of state, but nobody gives a shit. At the end of the year, when quarterfinals comes around and the workouts come out, and I'm like, oh well, shit. I look back in my journal and I've got, back on September, 20th, I couldn't get 2 sessions in, there was 7 or 8 other days like that. So you guys, there's nobody to be like, okay, well, we'll knock the reps down for you, right? Because you couldn't get 2 double sessions in on 10 days during this past year of training. No one gives a shit. So every day you have to make the most of the opportunity that you're given and maximize your potential to what you've laid out as a plan. I could have skipped this morning. I didn't. I ran 30 minutes worth of intervals plus a 10-minute warm up and 10-minute cool down. And it hurt. And I didn't enjoy really any of it. But when the time comes, I can look back, and as long as I make that decision over and over again, I can look back and say, you know what? I didn't skip many sessions. I did my best to maximize the time that I had. And because of that, I will know that by not taking shortcuts, by not skipping, by not being weak in the moment, that whatever results I get, I can be happy with and proud of and not think, what if? And the moral to this story, the lesson learned here is you're going to have a lot of moments, and they're usually right before the decision needs to be made, right? You step up to, you go down into your kitchen. For me, you step into your kitchen and you don't have a plan for lunch that day. You need to eat in the next 30 minutes. What's the decision you're going to make, right? It's time to work out. This was my situation this morning. It's time to work out. You know what you need to do. Are you going to step up to the plate and grind it out, or are you going to wuss out and just skip it? You've got a assignment that needs to be done for work, something that needs to be done for work. Are you going to sit there and act like you're doing your work and kind of just slough it off and procrastinate and do it tomorrow, or are you going to get it done? And if you get in a habit of making those decisions based on how you feel in the moment, you will most likely slip into a bad habit of choosing the easy decision now, which is going to result in hard consequences later. And in that moment, you have to find a way. And I'm so fortunate. I don't know how. I think it's just been a 10-year journey of since I graduated high school and really dedicated myself to discipline. You have to find a way to train the discipline dog inside of you to, in those moments, recognize that there's a piece of you that says, fuck, I do not want to do this right now. I want to take the easy way out. And you stand up and you bitch slap that voice inside your head and you say, it doesn't matter because I set out days and weeks and months before this with a plan, and bitching out of what I have to do right now is not a part of that plan. I care in the long run more about the mission, the entire goal, the whole journey than the feelings, right? The fake, false, faux feelings that I'm having right now, they're telling me to quit and take the easy road. And then you start doing whatever you didn't want to do and you realize, "Oh fuck, you know what? I'm glad I did this. I would have felt bad if I didn't." But if you can do that, you will surpass a lot of people in life. Because a lot of people, most people, they give in to that voice that says, "You know what? Take the day off." You got to train that disciplined dog. Hope you guys have a fantastic week. We'll talk next time. Don't be a bitch. Peace.